Hi everyone, welcome to Colouring with Kay and thank you for joining me today. So in this colouring snippets video I am starting with clips of me colouring in the Japanese Townscapes 2 colouring book. So you can see that I chose the page with the beautiful blossoms, and I decided to go with like a sort of a purple pink, obviously because of the pink blossoms, but purples, pinks, and then sort of browns, neutral colours, greys, like, because I think grey brown look really nice with pinks and purples, so I use like pairs of contrasting colours. So I really like using my Brute Funa Macrons, I think they call. They're the pastel shade pencils, because you can get those really light colours and get that contrast when you're blending. I'm someone who really likes to use lots of pencils from different brands to colour anyway on one page. It's very, very rare, if at all, that I just colour with a set of one brand of pencils. So particularly on this paper, in order to get a smooth finish, I do use the Derwent blender pen. I could have used a blender pencil, but just because it's easier with the very tiny spaces. It's a very detailed book, this the Townscapes Japanese colouring book, so therefore I am using the Derwent blender pen because it's the fine tip one and it can get into the really small spaces more easily, so anything for an easier life really. So yeah, usually use that, and you can see what a difference it makes if you look how lovely it is. Now I've not, like, I know that you can use alcohol markers as well, but the tip on these, the tiny bullet tip on these Derwent blender pens works really nicely for me. If it was larger areas, I probably would use an alcohol blender pen if I wanted to smooth out. It does obviously depend on the pencil type as well, which sort of solvent will allow it to move around and blend. So that's all I'm doing in there. Now I'm using some pencils. I think I can't even see properly which, and I've forgotten because I did this quite a while ago. But I think I am using, well, they look hexagonal, but some more shading going on. I think it might be the, is it the Brute? It could be the Brute Funa squares, because they really are got really nice pencils, I have to say. And I did enjoy using the Brute Funa squares on this paper. I actually have one spare set of those pencils, because I think they are so well priced and also give you a really good, they give you a really good finish, and they're really good for the price that you can buy them for. If they go on sale again, I might actually buy another set, but I don't use them that much, and really I think I should. I think that the more you use certain brands of pencil, the more used to you get to it, of course, and the more you use them, the more experienced you are with them, and the more you work with them better. Sorry if I'm sounding a bit croaky. I am doing this in the morning when I've woken up, so I'm a little bit croaky. So yeah, I think it is my Brute Funa squares. I really enjoyed, like I said, I really enjoyed using these, and they do blend lovely on this paper. Even though I think to get a really smooth finish, I probably would, I can't remember if I did or not, but I probably would use the Derwent blender pen for it. So yeah, I think they've got some lovely browns in the Brute Funa square set as well. So yeah, that's all I'm doing, just simple shading using 2 or 3 colours. And I find that in very detailed books like this, for the larger areas, I still like to use pencil to give that shading look. I mean, I could have done these bits and given it a sort of alcohol base, like using alcohol marker or water-based markers, but I don't know, I just decided to use pencil, or for the bigger areas. For the smaller areas, of course, I do use fine liners and things like that, because they're just perfect for this sort of stuff. Really detailed pages, I know we're not all into it, but I just really quite enjoy them. I just like having a large project to do and to focus my mind. It's really satisfying when you finish it as well. So that's how it's looking now. The just to say, the pink trees had an alcohol base, I think, as far as I remember. Now I'm using my luminance pencils because, as I said in a previous video, the Luminance and the Derwent Lightfast have got some excellent dark pencils which you can buy at open stock. So to increase or improve the contrast, I like to add dark on the edges, dark shades on the edges, and make it really quite dark so that the lighter areas pop a bit more. And regarding pencils, I find the Luminance and the Lightfast, and also there's some shades in the Chroma Flow, the Derwent Chroma Flow, that are quite dark and are really good for adding to, say, cheaper brands which don't have those darker colours. That's what I usually find anyway. So wherever I did the Brute Funa penciled areas, I'm using, say, a darker purple to augment that, I guess. And that's what it's looking like. I'm quite pleased with it. Love blossoms. So then I decided that some areas were still not dark enough, and if that is the case where you decide that, oh, it's still not dark enough, I want the contrast to be even more, or if you can't find the right shade, you can use fine liners, and of course they are water-based. So I put a little bit of the water-based marker, fine liner, whatever it is, fine liner in this case. Then I use my water brush to blend it out. Obviously I can't put the pen down and then leave it for ages, because if I do that, the pen will just dry and it will barely move. So you need to work fairly quickly. Some colours blend out with the water much easier than others, so that's just the way it is. But generally, if you do put a water-based marker down, while it's wet, it is still quite fairly easy, should I say, to blend it out. So using fine liners in places like that to add even more depth is always a good thing. So yeah, that's all I'm doing here. Decided to add, it's always good when you've got detailed pages to just add fine liner in the really small areas. I find that really lifts all the rest of the page as well, because it gives such deep, dark, intense areas. And I like the look it gives on a page. I mean, maybe it's not for everyone that likes that look, but I really like how it looks. And as you know, if you follow my channel, I always like to use a mix of mediums on a page, because I think the final product looks better. And in the past, I have been like looking at other people's drawings when it's all pencil and nothing else, and I've been looking at it and thinking, oh, they have such, they have such talent, and it looks so good, and I should do it. But I've realised that my style is just where I like to have a mix of mediums. Very rarely, I think, for me, a page, I would think that, hang on, it just needs to be all pencil. But even then, I might put a slight bit of glitter here or a gel pen here, but very, very limited. But vast majority of my pages is mixed media, is where I would like to use a range of mediums, just because that's my style and that's what I like doing. And I think I'm finally comfortable with that fact that is my style. And if I like the end product, then that's okay. I don't have to do something that somebody else, I don't have to do it in somebody else's style, because we all have our own style, and the way that we do it, I think. So yeah, here on the blossoms, I just wanted to add more shadowy areas, or like not just shadowy areas, but areas with slightly different colour variation. So I've got here like a lilac purple. Anyway, we're on to our next clip here very quickly. So I'm now working in the French book, I don't know how to say it, Les Pays de Merveilles or something like that. And this is a buddy colour, with a lovely Veronica Dunn on Instagram. So we decided to do this shells page. There is a little mermaid there that sat on near a shell. So here I am using the White Nights granulating paints. Now, I wasn't so fussed about them not, whether they're going to have the granulating effect, because obviously granulation effect works best on a more textured paper, and also on a watercolour paper, but this is obviously not watercolour paper. But the colours in that set, the deep blues and the purples, are absolutely gorgeous. So I was really using it for the the set of colours, basically the shades, rather than the fact that they're granulating. So I thought, for a sea theme, a range of beautiful blues and purples would look really nice, because I envisage this. It is obviously a water-based, a water-themed design. I'm using, of course, the paints. I did add a fair amount of water to it so that it was, I could go back in, I let it dry, because of course, like I said, it's not watercolour paper, so I had to let it dry, and then I added another layer of shading with my watercolour paint. I am a complete novice when it comes to watercolouring, and I'm just learning as I go. But yeah, I wanted all the background in watercolour. And then I think later on what I do is I use a sponge to add some of the watercolour paint to give it a texture, basically, on the edges. And then I do use the sponge to dab on some Artex acrylic marker. So these were from the 72 Artex acrylic marker set. Now they are waterproof. Like, you can see how I got it all on the other page. I'm such an idiot. But yeah, I should have protected the other side of the page. But yeah, I should be able to cover that up, but I made a little bit of a mess of it. And then I was trying to lift it off by adding some water, which it did work a little bit, but not great. I should have been more careful. But that's me, basically. When I want to start a page, I sort of, don't think about preparing the area when I should. But yeah, I love the shades of colour in the White Nights granulating paints. So that's what I used. And like I say, you'll see me use some of the sponge on with acrylic marker, and also the paint, just to add some texture, because I think texture always looks nice on a page. But yeah, the other thing to let you know is, if you have this book, it does take mediums quite well, I must say, because the paper is quite thick. So you can see me here using it. The watercolour paint, it works really well. So if you like watercolour, it works well. Watercolour paint works well on this paper. So guys, do let me know, what are you working on at the moment? It has been, like, this month, May, it's been like fairly busy because you're preparing kids for exams and stuff, but I've been trying to colour what I can colour, and I have had some fairly detailed pages, and it's been, I have spent a fair amount of time trying to colour as well, but from the end of the last week of May and then June, through to June and some of July, I will be very, very busy. So I doubt I'll be having many videos out, so I do apologise for that. But this time of the year is always going to be like that because I do take on extra work, and I need to with the amount that I buy and treat myself to. So yeah, so there probably won't be that many videos during June. I'm going to see how many videos I can make, to before that time period, so that there's some available in June, and I might have the odd one here and there. But yeah, please understand that because of being busier, it won't be likely that I'll be able to do many videos. Oh, there you go. It wasn't watercolours, actually botanical stains. So botanical stains I bought quite a few years ago, and I think it's a dye ink of some sort, but I'm using a sponge here to add like a texture to the edges, because I'm one of those people who just don't like the white background of a page. I feel like it's unfinished, and I shouldn't feel like that, but I do. So I put a little bit of the botanical stains liquid in similar colours to the colours that I'd already used in watercolour, and then I used my sponge to dab it in and then dab it onto the page. And yeah, it gives a nice texture. And then later on I decided some areas of the textured background would look good if I used some acrylic paint. So I used the 72 acrylic marker set that was sent to me, and I basically tried to use that with a sponge. It didn't work as well as I'd wanted, just because I think the acrylic paint dried really quickly. So it wasn't great for this technique, but you've got to try stuff out, and then if you learn from it, that's all good. There's nothing lost by doing that, I don't think. So yeah, I think I'm adding some of the purple botanical stains here now. So yeah, that's basically it. Just thinking, what shall I talk about next? That is to talk about, told you about the fact that the channel will be a little bit quieter during June and some of July. I am looking forward to the summer holidays. But then again, that's like the best thing about being a teacher in the UK. The summer holiday is one of the perks of the job. So definitely looking forward to that. We are going away, I think, for a bit to Wales. Only for a week, but I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, maybe let's see what the next clip brings us. I think it might be, what am I adding now? I think, well, I will see. So that's what it looks like now, and then I think I'm just adding a bit more because I felt like you haven't got the texture on the picture as well. So to tie it all in together so it looks a bit more cohesive, I decided to put some of the stippling or sponge texture on the actual picture itself as well, so on top of the watercolour, because I thought that would, help it all come together a little bit better. So that's that picture. Now, next one is a book by Nina Stagner, Meadowland. Now, I didn't buy the paperback version because, of course, it's Amazon print. and I went for the, what's it called, the Etsy version, which is the electronic version, so I could print it out. So I'm working on Nina cardstock here, and I'm using the acrylic Artex acrylic 72 marker set with the big 3mm bullet tip. And remember, they're interchangeable tips, so that you can use brush tips. You can change it onto the, you can change the 3mm bullet tip to the brush tips, or the 2mm bullet tip if that's what you want. They are, once you put it down, it's if you're quick, then you can of course move the marker with water, and it blends really nice, gives you a lovely painterly effect. The pink flower that you see there is basically what I did on the Artex review video. But I've got to say, these markers are gorgeous. The ink, sorry, the ink, the paint in them is very vivid, very pigmented, gorgeous colours. So yeah, I thought I'd do a little bit more in this snippets video just to show you me working with these Artex markers. I know some other YouTube ladies have done a fantastic job doing a whole page with acrylic markers. I myself will use acrylic markers on a page, but not for the whole picture. I don't think I could manage that, because I just like the different elements to have a different look, and I'm not sure I can pull it off as well. So for some aspects of the picture, and I think if you use the acrylic markers like this on those cute and cozy pictures, it could end up looking really nice, just because I think the cute and cozy pictures somehow suit this sort of medium quite well. The little animals I decided not to do, of course, in Artex acrylic paint. I've decided to use either alcohol marker for them or pencil. I can't remember what I ended up using, but you can see me blending here a little bit with the water brush, and yeah, it actually worked quite well. And you can always, once you've added water to try to blend, you can always add your acrylic marker later on top, you know, to improve something if the blend isn't quite right. So it is a fairly forgiving medium. Obviously it's not forgiving in the sense that once you put it down you can erase it off, because that's not going to be really possible, but it is forgiving in terms of the shading's not quite right, you can add some more and improve it. So I've decided to just use a bullet tip, because I'll be honest, I couldn't be bothered to change the tips, because I was just adding marker to blend, and they are very juicy markers, very juicy. So because there's quite a lot of ink that comes down, it's quite fairly easy to blend, you know, with the water brush. I did have a question, which was someone wanted to know whether you can put pencil on top. I haven't actually tested that, so I need to test that and need to get back to you guys about how easy it is to put pencil on top of acrylic marker. I've noticed with some acrylic markers in the past it's been okay in terms of putting pencil on top, but with others it hasn't been. So I could try that out, I could test that out and then let you know in one of my videos, in an update or in a colouring snippets video or something. But yeah, I really enjoyed using the Artex markers like this, and it's just another way of using your mediums, which isn't a bad thing. So yeah. So I think I've got to do more of this technique, I think, especially in the cute and cozy pictures, just because they have more open spaces, so it's easier to use mediums where you can do a little bit more blending rather than the really detailed pages. I've not got that many pages done actually this month. I've still got 2. I finished a double page recently, which took me a while, but I did use watercolour on it and I did use other water-based mediums. But anyway, this is how this looks with the acrylic markers, and I decided to use some other shades. But you can see, look how look how juicy the markers are, and you can just blend it out. Decided to add a luminous green there. I wanted to make a video. Well, my aim is to make like a full collections video of all my completed pages or all the books in my collection now, because I've got so many. I feel quite overwhelmed, but I really I'm getting really quite picky now about buying books as well. I keep telling myself that. But anyway, we are now working on Les Animaux de bois by Paula Brune. You can laugh at my pronunciation. It's the French book with the green cover by Paula Brune. And I decided to do this double. This is a double page I was just talking about. I just finished this recently because I'm going back to putting voiceover on this. But I've been using Neocolor. I use Neocolor 2 for all the large areas, so the grassy areas, the water, the sky, and then now I'm going in adding pencil shading. Sometimes I add pencil shading, sometimes I also put watercolour on it. So I've probably used watercolour pencils on top of the Neocolor as well, and also then pencil just to bring out the depth and the shading, you know, so that it looks more natural, so that it's more colours. And the more colours you add, the more natural it looks. So I'm just adding shading, and I'll use fine liners, and here you can see I'm using polys to bring out the grass blades and things. So this paper does take watercolour very, very well. It's one of those Marabout books again that's, I think it's a Marabout, yeah, it is Marabout book that has really nice thick paper, which allows you to use watercolour or water-based mediums. But I really enjoyed this page. I have to say, this has to be, the pictures in this book are stunning. And I kept showing my husband my progress, and he kept saying, oh, it doesn't look like colouring, it just looks like art. And, you know, and I says, no, that's just because the illustration is so amazing that it makes your colouring look so good. And he's like, no, your colouring's really good as well. So I'm not going to say no to the compliment. But yeah, this, I have to say though, the pages in this book, they are drawn so beautifully that honestly, when you colour them, it looks like artwork. It's just like not just colouring anymore. But then again, when I look at other people's work as well, it doesn't do it justice by saying it's a coloured page. It looks like a piece of artwork. So yeah. So yeah, I'm just using my pencil here to, and polychromos is really good for bringing out details like in hair, in grass, etc. So yeah, we're coming to the end of this clip, and I think that's going to be the end of my colouring snippets. So I look forward to showing you all my completed pages at the end of May. I doubt there'll be much for the end of June, but please forgive me for that, because of course I'm going to try to use easy books to relieve my stress, because I'll be marking away and meeting deadlines. So yeah, I think I need those sort of books. So until next time, guys, take care. Happy colouring. Let me know what you're colouring in the comments below. And yeah, see you next time. I hope to see you or speak to you soon. Bye.